Hello guys, welcome to another fun video. This time we have lots of opinions and it'll be an interesting one because we are talking about multicolored logos, whether it's good for the industry, good for the D2C industry, F&B, BPC, the entire consumer industry. Is it good? Is it worth it? Is it needed? Does it actually help or is it just a detrimental choice for the long-term brand equity? Let's see. We'll love to see your opinions in the comments, so do give them and enjoy the conversation. Gurjinder, how's it going?
It's going very well. I know you shared this with me a while back, and today you show this to me again, and it's stirring something in my mind that I want to get to. So, oh yeah,
Absolutely.
let's get into it.
So this comes to us from an amazing guy on LinkedIn. His name is
Yeah.
Brent. And he starts off the LinkedIn post with, I'm not trying to be rude, but here I go. This trend won't last. Multicolored logos, right? So your logo is not a place to experiment with color. If you're creating a software brand and the agency pitched you a different color logo on every page, you would fire them. Interesting. Yet in consumer packaged goods, different color logos on every pack is seen as acceptable. I have a strong mind. I have a strong opinion, and you can't change my mind, okay? All right, he
Yeah.
has completely made up his opinion. And here's a snapshot for us to look at.
Yeah.
And I think he has an in depth article on it as well. Let me see if I can pull it up. Okay, I can just in. So, what's your opinion on this snapshot?
Right off the bat, Brent, I see where you're coming from, and I understand what your point is, and you're worried about the fact that, we're messing with what the logo is, doing
Mhm.
too much to it, or changing it too many times in sort of the same
Right.
context. What I'll
Mhm.
say to that is I think the proof is right here in the photo that you yourself posted that this can work. So if you look at any one of these brands, right, we have Goodles, we have Gigantic, Fatso, every single one of them, right? Their packaging is designed a little bit differently for every iteration. And each
Mhm.
iteration tells you something about maybe the flavor. It excites customers, right? It does something a little bit different. And this is entirely something we've seen in the D2C kind of e-commerce space, right? And a lot of these products are kind of moving into big box stores. Like Goodles is one that I go to my local Target and I can find it. I've eaten it before. But I think that a great logo is one that is dynamic, is one that can live on in any treatment whatsoever. But as long as you're able to identify the form from far away, it doesn't matter what kind of color, treatment, iteration,
Mhm.
whatever it is. As long as you don't skew it in a way that you're not supposed to, changing the color like this in different contexts, I think it's a winning strategy for brands, especially nowadays, because there's just already so much noise. The sort of timelessness that we've been used to in the world of
Mhm.
branding, the one that
Mhm.
CGH, right? Shermayev, Geismar and
Guys,
Habib have made
Mahavi, yeah.
so famous, right? The timelessness of a logo, of a mark. I think that is taken to its next level when we decide to up the ante and put color into it and change it around.
Mhm.
So that's my
Mhm.
first off opinion. I have more proof to this, but
Mhm.
I want to hear what you have to think about that.
Right. Before even getting to this, Fred agrees with you. You couldn't be more wrong, particularly in an ever growing digital world where the confines of print no longer dictates the physics of a brand. Very interesting for us to remember.
Yeah.
Because you're conflating the need for brand consistency, which creates brand equity and recognition, with literal consistency. Very
Right.
interesting the way they are doing. For example, take a look at Monster Drink logo. Logo is
Yeah.
green and black of pack, but just look
Yeah.
at all the packaging. So many iterations of color. It hasn't hurt this global
Yeah.
giant. Monster packaging. I'll just go check, take a look. So
You can open up that tab as well.
yes, I'll do that. Monster Drink. Yes, can you see it?
Yes. Perfect.
So
Perfect example.
right, for example, this exists, I guess,
Yep.
and this exists. This is the one that is
Yeah.
like the main one, right?
Yep.
This is there, and
That's right.
on the picture itself, I can see very different iterations of it.
Yeah.
But what's contradicting to what Fred himself talked about is the packaging changes, but the logo doesn't. It's still the silver scratch. The monster logo is still the same.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I want to come as well, which is there's one. packaging or one visual touch point that just becomes so brand specific that you can't change it, and that's your superpower, which is the green, like the green scar, the Hulk scar in a way on
Yeah.
Monster, right?
Yeah.
That's their aggressive positioning. That works, right? That's them, and that's totally them. And I believe that has huge brand equity in the long run.
Yeah.
Another point that comes to mind is when we're talking about D2C brands, I'll share the screen again. With D2C brands, for example, this one, Littles, right? So this is
Yeah.
in a mason jar. This was this is in a plastic jar in a way.
Yeah.
So form factor goes for a toss. I mean, there's only so much that you can do with form factor, right? So
Yeah.
in terms of differentiation, everything has to happen in this part of the world,
That's
just
right.
in this section mainly, especially if
That's
it's on
right.
the shelves. So it becomes very difficult to kind of differentiate between green and pink of this mason jar and pink and blue of this mason jar,
Yeah.
specifically because of these things as well, which is the drop shadows. Something interesting, right? There's drop shadows on this one, on this one, on this one, and then there's super minimal ones as well, who are doing the same things, multicolored logos, but somewhere we see drop shadows, somewhere we don't see it. So that's kind of majorly like a design style, I guess. That's what they're going for, nothing to it. But apart from that, another vision that comes to mind is I don't know if they're going for brand consistency either. I don't know how long term they're thinking or even if that's possible right now. Because if I'm a D2C founder and I'm creating a company like Goodles or I'm creating a company like Gigantic, I don't know how possible is it in my mind to think that I'll have to be as long standing as a Kellogg's or a Nestle. It
Yeah.
just becomes too difficult to comprehend, right? My
Yeah.
immediate goal is to make sure that Goodles is differentiated from XYZ1, XYZ2, XYZ3.
Yeah.
And in the race of that, maybe I believe Brent is somewhere right, which is I don't know what is Goodles. I mean, I don't have an affinity towards Goodles. I'll buy it.
Sure.
I'll buy it
Sure.
for 2, 3 years consistently as much as they're differentiated. The moment someone comes with a better differentiation of anything, form factor, color, or whatever, illustration, mascot, brand marketing, anything, boom. Now
Yeah.
they are now holding the throne.
Yeah.
And that's where you're right. I mean, we both understand where Brett is coming from, right? Brent is coming from. But in a way, what you're saying makes sense as well, which is at the end of the day, it is about differentiation. And even
Yeah.
with this, like just to give our just core design opinions on this, this logo is different from this logo, which is different from this logo
Yeah.
because it's just typographic. So the typographic differentiation is there, but as we have always kind of learned, you can say, which is typography and colors are two of the most important things in any arc. And so if you're kind of commoditizing one, it becomes very difficult to stand out with just the typography because this
Yeah.
can stand out. I mean, the Cheddy Mac, that's
Yeah.
interesting. So it's supposed to be cheesy Mac, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Cheddar Mac.
so it's
Cheddar.
fun. It's
Cheddar cheese.
cheddar, yeah. So it's fun and it's kind of the gooey, the texturey logo.
Yeah.
So it works.
Yeah.
So this is something that can stay in my brain.
Yeah.
But the next moment someone write whatever Skittles on this and sells me chocolates, I
Yeah.
won't be able to differentiate between them. Just
And
because there's no anchor point.
you're right about the anchor point thing, right? And when this becomes a trend, which clearly it has, right? The
Mhm.
next brand that is up and coming that does the thing of only one color every single time and maybe just like a change of like flavor, that's the one that's
Mhm.
going to succeed out of this. When this style becomes a trend and becomes noise, right? Because after a trend, you become a noise. After that happens, then you have to go
Right.
back to the beginning of the circle. And it's sort of like a
Mhm.
loop, right? We keep
Mhm.
looping around.
Mhm.
And now you're at the that gigantic website. This is
They're
fun.
sold out. So
Oh
good for
wow,
them, right?
that's right.
That's amazing.
Very cool.
Sort of sweet, super yum.
Hmm.
I like it. I like it. They're not
That's
trying
nice.
to be health conscious.
Yeah,
That's good.
that's true.
Sort of sweet.
Yeah, sometimes you always need a fun snack.
I just got my blood work done and I'm super healthy, so I'll go grab a few bars today itself.
There you go. I mean,
Four
hopefully
massively,
it's available where you.
right. I'll grab their competitor maybe, and we'll come to that. They have a little fun jab towards the competitors.
Yeah.
Only 7 grams of sugar. I don't know if it's only, but sure.
Hmm.
Dark chocolate plant-based caramel. Pretty good looking website, but what I wanted to come at was when you land on this header section, the hero section, your mind directly goes to okay, space, but space in a pink and red aspect. So that's
Yeah.
instantly a callback. Generally,
Right.
we think of space, stars, blue, white.
Correct.
Now they're doing pink and red. It becomes instantly memorable. This can become a brand marketing campaign in so many ways, right? This can become
Yeah.
instantly memorable. That
Yeah.
a red star galaxy
Yeah.
where chocolate bars are flowing. Isn't that really fun and an anchor point?
Yeah.
And then they lose it. Then they lose it with this one. Yellow,
That's
green,
fair.
pink, red,
Fair.
right? I mean, it's fun. It's understandable why they do it. Like for this part
Yeah.
as well, it looks good. It's understandable, but I don't know.
You know, I always go back to the idea of the fundamental, which is like
Mhm.
the logo itself is fundamental. Gigantic itself, as you see up there, it's in its red
Mhm.
is probably red on white is probably the main iteration that they want to go after. And maybe
Right.
red with the black drop shadow on a pink is like that's our number one. But along
Mhm.
with that, we know how to have fun as a brand, and that's why we introduce all these. Now, if
Mhm.
I treat this logo in a different color at any point in time, like I do here in like four different versions,
Mhm.
over time, what I walk away with is just that fundamental form of the logo and the in the writing. That's what
Mhm.
I get. And the fact that I see it in all these different iterations, I think helps me better remember this because
Mhm.
it helps me kind of take in all these variables and kind of give me a compact view of like, oh yeah, I know which one's the right one, even though there's like all of these, right? Versus, only one iteration of a specific logo. Now, another point here is that this is not going to work for every brand, right? It depends
Mhm.
on what is that visual representation that you're going after. So think of
Mhm.
something like Coca-Cola for a second, right? If we look at and if we try to imagine Coca-Cola with a blue can, that's like the biggest sin in the world, right? It
Right.
just would never happen. Now, they've done
Mhm.
black cans, they've done golden cans, they've done silver, but there's always the
Yes.
red there, right? Red has always been a part of it. So it's really a choice that you have to start making at a certain fork in the road when you've done like this big rebranding, or
Mhm.
since the beginning of your brand's time, which I think Gigantic has done that likely. I don't know if
Yep.
they've gone
Yep.
through a rebranding, but this is the beginning of time for them, the first time I'm learning about them. So for them,
Yes.
this works because
They are sold
they've
out.
set that
So
standard, right? They set that
they should go
standard
for it.
since the beginning and it's going to go for.
What I always kind of think, my style of vision is about
Yeah.
dreaming big. It's about long-term vision from the start. Because why not? I mean, if you're
Yeah.
not setting the foundation well enough, you'll just crumble really fast.
Yeah.
Because this can become commoditized real quick. It's just a
Yeah.
chocolate brand at the end of the day, as good
Yes.
as it looks. And so for Gigantic, I mean, you would remember this. We were on the Kit Kat rebranding, and
Yeah.
they had released some flavors. I mean, new packaging for their flavors. The difference was in the packaging, and the logo still remains the same. And that's what I would have liked for them to do, which is choose a type of red which works well with a maybe a green drop shadow, a pink
Sure.
drop shadow. Maybe they could have changed the drop shadows and kept the typography similar. Something. I mean,
Sure.
I'm not saying that this looks bad. I
Yeah.
don't want people to have a opinion that we're talking about multicolored logos looking bad. No, they look good, and
Yeah.
that is kind of the issue, that everything looks good and different. That's
Yeah.
what the issue is. The issue
Yeah.
is branding is always about making things look similar,
Yeah.
and this is what I was talking about.
That's right. Taking the
It's like,
Snickers.
so
Yeah.
I mean, can't help it. I'll have to get a less evolved version of bar today.
Listen,
But
I
yes,
hope it's that big compared to my body size, enlarged to
and
show
I heard this
massively.
one.
That's
So
wonderful.
yes,
That's
that's that's kind
such
of.
a good part of that page. That's perfect. That's like such a
Mhm.
perfect section. It's very
Right.
fun.
So, firstly, good on Gigantic.
Yeah.
Keep doing amazing. And to wrap it up, for the few two people who are watching, just a second. Okay, I just opened captions. I don't need
We're
that.
we're getting viewership up. It'll go up very soon. I think this is going to be such a debated video. And if you have interesting comments that you don't agree with either of us, you put that in the comment
Yes.
section. You let us
Put that in the
know
comments.
what you think. Because listen,
So
that's
Fred is an
my
amazing guy, actually.
first and foremost opinion. Brent has his opinion, Fred has his. I love to hear it though.
So what he comes at is he says that he doesn't agree with Brent. That's okay.
Yeah.
Particularly in an ever-growing digital world where the confines of print no longer dictate the physics of a brand. Doesn't that mean that consistency becomes very much more important now than ever itself? In a way, he's kind of contradicting,
Hmm.
right? Because
I think
the
he's
number
maybe
of
he's trying
yeah,
to.
good.
What I took away from that is that when
Mhm.
in the old days, like you want to go print something and it costs you less to print something in the same color every single
Yeah.
time. Maybe it's gotten
Mhm.
cheaper to print something in
Yes.
different colors in different times. That's what the perspective is.
He's
So
also
again, like
probably coming at it from an angle of, like you are now able to showcase your product on various touch points without any issues with like print or anything. So
yeah,
colors are a possibility now, basically.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, both are takeaways, I guess.
It's a standard you have to set from the beginning and make this a very, very you know strategic choice because once you sign up for one thing, it's going to be hard to move away from it.
Their flexibility is a signal that they are not big, old, dated, stuffy god of the category like Kraft mac and cheese and their rigid monolithic blue box.
Yeah,
See, the moment someone says rigid monolithic blue box, I think of Kraft mac and cheese.
yeah, yeah,
And if that's what you're going for, it all depends on if you're trying to be a Goodles selling amazing pasta, amazing mac and
yeah,
cheese, or
yeah,
you're trying to be a competitor of Mac. I think it's all
yeah,
a vision thing. It's all an iterative thing at the same time. It's not that we are refuting
yeah,
either of them. In
yeah,
a way, we shouldn't, right? Because both are brand directions that works out
yeah,
really well for D2C brands. So yeah, I think it's a timing thing that we're kind of fighting
yeah.
on.
It's really a loop. And right now we're
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
loop of we're in that point where a lot of different colors work, the splash of the whole
Mhm.
library. And then we're
Right.
going to go right back to, being a one set standard because there's
Mhm.
so much noise up here, they have to loop
Yes,
back to the
we
beginning
have to.
and
Yes,
then it keeps going in a circle. So that's the magic of
terrific.
time.
This was a fun conversation, wasn't it?
Yes, it
Tell
was.
us in the comments what do you guys think, especially like core packaging designers. If you're watching this, give us your opinions. It'll be really nice. All right,
Awesome.
hope you guys learned something and hope you guys got riled up enough to leave comments. So do
Yeah.
that and I'll see you. Subscribe. Take care. Bye.